Hey, welcome folks. Bob here from bobsplumbingvideos.com with a short little video about replacing a hose for a traditional two-handle or perhaps single lever faucet. Let's say you've determined that the hose needed replacing. For whatever reason this was leaking, or maybe you were playing around with the head, you couldn't get the head to work right, and you ultimately decided you needed a new hose. So what do? You go to the home center, you buy a replacement hose, and 90% of the time you're going to get a hose with a 1/8 inch male thread replacement. Pretty traditional, pretty standard. But you get home and you're all ready to open up the cabinet and get to work. You look up, and to your surprise, you end up seeing a hose like this that has this little coupling nut on it. And now it's a matter of, wow, what do I do now? This is not the same hose. How am I going to make this work? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, let's jump down to the bench and I'll show you how you can make it work. Not too difficult. So let's jump down and I'll see you in a second. All right, here we are on the bench. So you decided you needed a new hose and you went out and you bought a new hose. And pretty traditionally, most of the hoses you're going to see are a 1/8 inch male thread. But you didn't look under the sink. Shame on you, before you went out to buy this. And lo and behold, when you got home and you got under the sink and you started to get ready to work, this is what you saw. You saw a hose with this little 1/4 inch kind of union nut on there, if you would. And some of the faucet manufacturers, believe it or not, in particular the single lever faucet manufacturers, had a male thread coming down from the faucet like this. And that's how they attach their hoses. This was, I guess, a proprietary system for them. And this is how their hoses were attached. Just like that. So you went to the store because you didn't look, and you went out and bought this. So what do? Well, it's pretty simple. At least it is in my eyes, or at least what we used to do was go out and get a 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch reducing coupling. We'd screw it onto the little nipple coming down from the faucet. Always put our Teflon on here. Don't forget your Teflon. And then we would put our Teflon on the threads of the new hose, the male threads here, put Teflon on there, and then we would simply proceed to, just make the union, if you will. And that's how you would do it. Pretty simple, not too difficult. What I've done in the past too, if I didn't have this little fitting here, this little 1/4 inch fitting, and what I've seen people do, because I've gotten underneath the sinks and I've seen, I guess, homeowners have attempted to make repairs to their hose, or maybe they went out and they had this male nipple coming down, and then they realized that they got this, and maybe they didn't want to go back to the store. They didn't want to go through the heartache of making that second trip. What I've actually seen done, and what I don't advocate, is this. I've actually seen people have actually cut their hoses in two, and they would actually snip the ends off the hoses, and they would snip the end off the new hose, and they'd leave this up at the faucet, connected in such a way, just like this. They got under there, and this is what they saw, and then they realized that what they had wasn't going to work, and they said, I'm not going to go back to the store. So what they ended up doing was they'd snip the hose off, and then they would take this and snip the end off this hose, and ultimately, so they said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just put these two together. And you know what? You can do that. I wouldn't advocate doing it. So what you would need to do is, if you decided you were going to go that route, and I don't like really even showing you this, but hey, what the heck? That's what I'm here for, to teach you. So in a jam, you go out and get a 5/16 inch barbed fitting or barbed coupling, and you would simply get a couple of hose clamps. We'll just put this in here like this. And sometimes you may have to, I'm not going to go in all the way, but if you heat this up a little bit, you just heat it up with a hairdryer, so you'll let the hose soften up a little bit, and then you can get on the opposite end, put another clamp, such as this, and you stick this in here like this, and you heat them up so they'll go all the way to the middle here, and then you can put these little clamps on here, these little stainless steel clamps, tighten them up, and you know, you're in business. But hey, I wouldn't do this, guys, but you know what, if you're in the jam and let's say you went out and you bought it, you realize you got the wrong thing, you didn't want to make the trip back to the store for whatever reason. Well, I guess you're going to have to make the trip back to the store to get the barbed fitting, but for whatever reason you said, I'm not going to go through that heartache again, you can do this. And folks, that's pretty much it for this video. So if you're going to go out, the moral to the story is, if you're going to go out and replace a hose for your traditional two-handle or single-lever faucet, what I'm going to tell you to do is look up under the sink and make sure that if you're looking for this, make sure you don't see this underneath the sink. Because if you do, you're going to have to go and get one of these, and you'll make it work. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this short little video. Hope to be seeing you real soon in my next video. Stay well, and like I always like to say, happy plumbing.